Actually, we talked about the dew the other night. Was it difficult gripping the ball in that second bowling innings?
Yeah, so it was. I think it was probably about about just after the 20th. I think outfield was pretty wet, and I feel like every time the ball went out, it came back pretty wet as well. So I think everything was basically soaking at that stage. So it was sort of hard to get anything dry, and even when we dried the ball, your hand would start sweating, so it would sort of get wet as well. So very uncomfortable conditions, but it was not something that was unexpected. I think even the couple of training sessions we had the night before, a couple of nights before, we saw there was a fair bit of dew around, so we were prepared for that. But yeah, I think just after fielding and batting during the day, you probably just don't sort of understand how tough it's going to be.
Are you expecting sort of similar conditions here in the IPL and sort of spinning conditions as well, and then the dew? And do you have to look at potentially bowling first?
I think it's a bit of an unknown here. I think they've ripped up the whole ground and started again after the IPL. I think India also had a T20 here where they struggled to chase down, I think, 99 against the Kiwis, I'm pretty sure, earlier in the year. And so I think with that in mind, it's probably just going to be a fresh start for the whole ground. I think it's going to be turn up on the day and sort of see how it looks. I think we've got training this afternoon and tomorrow as well. So hopefully have a look and see what the ground's like, and try and make a good judge on the wicket and see what it looks like.
There's been a bit of talk amongst the batting group about sort of extending those partnerships through the middle overs, potentially, having lost, clumps of wickets. I know no one means to lose wickets in clumps, but what's the focus there, and how do you go about extending those partnerships, given it's been a bit of an issue of late?
Yeah, I think that wicket the other night was probably a bit of an anomaly for what we're probably used to in India. You're used to, I suppose, consistent spin throughout the whole innings, but it was quite strange that it was really inconsistent or sliding on quite fast, which made sort of, I suppose, stroke play and consistent timing really difficult. And it felt like it wasn't the easiest wicket to sort of take a risk and go over the top or hit through the line. So I think that was highlighted early on. I think Bumrah got some balls to stand up and move quite a lot at the seam, and as soon as the ball hit those cracks, it seemed to do a fair bit. So with that, just got to be, I suppose, ultra confident in your defence and making sure that anything that's slightly loose, you can cash in on that. But when you've got three world-class spinners who don't really miss their length very often, it was quite difficult. So hats off to them, they were outstanding.
Just on that, Maxi, how difficult was it? Because obviously when you come here, you planned for flat pitches and pitches that would be a little slow and it would turn a bit. Was it a little on the extreme side in that sense?
I think when we turned up for the first training session, we saw the wicket, we knew it was going to be tough work, even before going out there. And you know when you come to India, you're going to be faced with a whole heap of different conditions, whether it be flat wickets that don't bounce or obviously dry wickets that turn quite a bit. So we sort of knew that once we saw that pitch, that it was going to be difficult. It was going to be inconsistent. There was going to be some balls that misbehaved, and we probably saw that throughout the night. I think even that Virat KL partnership, there was still lots of balls that were going past the bat off the quicks. There's still balls that were moving off the pitch, even despite the ball having a wet seam and being quite soft. So in positions like that, you just got to be really patient, and hopefully you either get a ball to score, or as a bowling side, you can just keep the ball in the right areas for long enough where the wicket can help you out a little bit. But we're prepared for whatever conditions come our way over the next few games, and I suppose we're lucky that we're in Lucknow for 2 games in a row. We can sort of have a look at these conditions.
But when you do encounter a pitch like that right at the start of a long tournament, even though you guys are experienced and you've played a lot of cricket here, is there not a fear but a worry that some batters can get a little spooked, that start seeing balls turn in their head, even if it is just 50 over cricket?
No, I don't think so. I think the practice that we put in, I suppose, in the nets are probably more extreme than most game day pitches. I think even looking back to the IPL, when we did play here, the nets were very similar to what the centre was playing like, and it was pretty hard work, both in the nets and then out in the middle. So it was actually really good practice for us and we feel like we've been testing ourselves quite a bit in training, and we feel ready to face whatever challenge. And we just came up against a very good bowling lineup the other day, and we felt like we created enough chances with the ball. We were certainly right in it the whole way through.
Max, you played a lot of cricket with Alex Carey and against him. I mean, there's been talk. Tim Payne said that he hasn't been the same since that Johnny Bairstow incident. Alex Carey has always said no, it didn't impact him as much as everybody else thought it did. Like, what's your reading of Alex as a person, and what's your insight into the guy he is? And do you think he would be someone who could get affected with that?
I think at the time it probably did. I think there's been enough water going under the bridge since then. I think he's in a really good space at the moment. He seems to be batting really well in the nets, from what I saw, until I probably ran him out in that practice game. But yeah, he seems in really good spirits, and he's keeping really well. He's doing a great job for us, and I think the other night he just got his back caught behind his pad, which can happen sometimes. I feel like every batter's made that mistake, where they're trying to get forward and just clip your pad and deflects it a little bit. But he's in good touch, and I'm looking forward to seeing him do really well this year.
Maxie, do you think we're going to see Lucknow's own Marcus Stoinis out there on Thursday?
Yeah, I think he's available. I think he's back available. Get on me. I think he's back available for selection. I think he was pretty touch and go for that first game, and I think with the travel days and the timings of the training session, he probably only missed the first game by maybe a day. They were sort of trying to do it, has a big day and then has a day off, and I think his big day was the day before the game, so where I think it just pissed down with rain anyway, so it ruined his training session. So I think he'll be good to go, and yeah, I think this is his home ground, the IPL, so he'll be enjoying hopefully being back out there in a couple of days' time.
I mean, we sort of know what he brings to the team over a long period of time, but how did you think he was looking the other night in the nets, particularly with the ball?
I think I left the net session before he actually bowled. I don't know, I read Bharat's tweets and said he bowled all right. Yeah, as I said, I've been speaking to him a fair bit, being close mates, and he says he feels ready to go, and he's excited and frustrated that he obviously couldn't be out there for the first game. He's a big energy for our team, and someone who obviously is a match winner and someone you need in these types of tournaments.
Looks like cricket's coming to the Olympics. Are you any chance to be around in 2028?
I'll be around. I'm not sure in what capacity. Who knows if I'll still be playing by then. I think I'll be 39. Could be fielding coach. Yeah, I don't know what the next few years hold. I'd like to tell you I'll be still playing at 39, but let's just get through this tournament first.
Just on that front, how did the ankle pull up from the other night? There was a moment there where you bowled and you sort of were on your haunches for a bit. Was that related to that at all?
That was my thumb. I got hit twice in the thumb in about the space of 4 balls, and the first one hurt a little bit, the second one hurt a lot. But no, I'm all right. Just a lot of diving on the wicket area. But it was nice, I suppose, a World Cup game. You're not going to sort of hold anything back. So I feel like I've been withholding a lot of the 100% sort of stuff until this tournament started, just to make sure that I didn't sort of flare anything up. But you can't sort of hold back once it comes to a World Cup. So it was nice to sort of get the shackles off and sort of run around and be a bit of a maniac in the field and run around and dive. And no, I loved it. It was good to be back out there. Good to have post-game soreness and enjoy that, and looking forward to the next few days getting ready.
I suppose as a segue to that, the outfield and Durham Shah has been a bit of a talking point. I'm not sure if you had a look at that, and I know it's a little while away, but you're playing there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I only just turned the TV on. Well, I've been watching the game. It looks sandy. It looks. I even watched the first game. I suppose Afghanistan, Bangladesh on that. I've heard that there's not much they can do. I think it freezes over or something like that in the winter, and it makes it harder to sort of grow the grass. So I assume they're doing everything they possibly can to get it up, but I think you can sometimes expect that when you come to India. You're not going to get perfect flat outfields. Even Hyderabad, it looks beautiful, but it's still a little bit wavy in some spots, so you can sort of miss your step. It's not perfectly flat. It's not like beautiful Junction Oval back at home. Or the MCG. There are some little intricacies in India and some of the grounds, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it plays out today. Hopefully no one gets injured, but it gets through.
It's okay.
You go.
One of you.
Get in there.
Max, speaking of nothing being perfect, just the fact that I shouldn't have started my question like this. Where I'm going with this, sorry. No, I mean you're a young father. There are a number of your teammates who are fathers who are in a place in life where you have a different perspective to life. Like, how important is that in a long tournament like this? So even though you've had that defeat, you can just move on better because kind of you can break away from that cricket circus and just get your head around the next game and then break away again.
It's a good question. It's still a World Cup. Like, so in my mind, it hurts losing games. It makes you more fired up to come out and hit the ground running the next one. You just want to keep winning. You want to, I suppose, get some momentum heading forward in the tournament. You want to, in my mind, I want us to be. Is there 10 teams in this tournament? Yeah. I want us to be 8-1 when we hit the finals. That's all I'm thinking. It'd be nice to say that we can go through undefeated, but obviously that chance is gone now. So that's just the competitive side of me. I just want to hit the next game as hard as we possibly can and take South Africa down and then go from there. But I'm not sure if that's changed with fatherhood, whether it's easier. I still go back into my room and watch my kids sleep on the monitor, and I suppose my cool down sessions are a little bit different. But apart from that, I don't think cricket has sort of changed too much. Good question though, thought-provoking. Exactly what I thought I was going to get, right from the heart.
George and the coach have both labelled you a specialist spinner. What do you think of that tag, and do you like that responsibility?
Well, I think I was the number 1 spinner in 2015 when we won it, so I've been bumped back to number 2. Obviously different conditions. As I said after Rajkot, the ball's coming out really well, and also I probably haven't worked on anything specific. I've just got a real clarity with the way it feels coming out of my hands. It was probably a little bit different the last couple of overs the other night, where I was basically putting 5 fingers on the ball and hoping it got down there in one bounce and didn't throw it straight over the batter's head. But I feel like I've got good control, and I think with the 4 fielders out and bowling to a lot of right-handers, I'm able to sort of control the scoreboard a little bit easier. It's a bit different with left-handers on strike, so it's probably changed a bit in one-day cricket, where bowling to a lefty, you might have a better wicket opportunity, but bowling to a right-hander, you can sort of shut down one side of the field and sort of work basically ego to ego and sort of see what they're trying to do and try and get a read on where they're trying to hit. And I do a lot of homework on the opposition. I watch a lot of games. I sort of know what their strengths and weaknesses are, and you try and get, I suppose, reads in their setup or the way their feet are moving, and just trying to adapt to that as much as you can. And I know I'm not a big spinner of the ball, but I feel like I'm really accurate in the way I can move them around the crease and hopefully build up enough pressure to bring about a wicket or a bad shot. And if it happens to the other end, that's perfect.
Yeah, and there were a few mistakes in the field the other night. Do you put that down to the maybe inexperience in those wet conditions, and has that been a sort of a focus moving into this week?
We haven't sort of sat down and chatted as a group, but I'd say the mistakes that we made, I didn't see too many. Obviously, the drop catch was one, which can happen. I think the ball went straight up in the lights and sort of bracing for a bit of a collision there as well. So those things can happen. And I suppose the good thing is 2 people went for it and they didn't just let it land in between them. So the want and hunger is there. So that's a good sign for our group. And I feel like we battled really hard in the field the other night and in trying conditions, in difficult conditions. And the effort was certainly there.
It looked like, especially in your first spell the other night, that Virat and KL were sort of sitting on you, didn't want to take too many risks. Did you feel that? And then equally, was it harder for Australia's batting to do that, given they had 3 spinners on those in that pitch on those conditions?
I don't think they intentionally wanted to sit on me. I think they probably saw me as an option to score against. And I think that was probably why I had a couple of short spells and try not to give them too much of a read on me. And I think I got maybe 2 balls to react differently off the wicket. where they hit a crack or hit a dry spot and went, and that just sows a little bit of doubt in the batter's mind. And I think they knew from coming to the wicket there was probably more test batting than one-day batting. It was about, I suppose, trying to sort of take the game as deep as possible, take the wind out of our sails a bit, and they did it beautifully. As I said, we beat the bat enough to create chances, just weren't able to get the edges in the end. And I think that's going to be my role, to, I suppose, be the holding pattern for as long as I possibly can. And if they play a bad shot and get out to me, perfect. If they play a bad shot at the other end and get a wicket, perfect. So I suppose that's just the role. I'm probably not going to be a blaster side out for and get 5 for it. It's probably just going to be a slightly different role.